Hey guys, today I want to show you the mirror reflection and how to build it in an easy way. So this is what we want to accomplish. Those are some rotating cubes and they are reflected by the ground, as you can see down here. So the main problem with this reflection is the real-time behavior of Ventus. Because we don't have so much time to render each frame like in common 3D graphics, we will have to consider a workaround for this problem and do a fake reflection. The basic idea is to render the whole content twice. One time correctly for the real content up here and one time upside down for the fake content or the reflection content below the ground. Over here you can see our basic setup. So I have built a light setup which consists of 3 lights that are a spot, point and a directional light. You can use your own lights as well. It just doesn't matter so much. Down here we have our content, which are in my case 6 cubes that are rotating around the y-axis. You can choose or build your own content as well. And down here lastly we have our ground rectangle, which is a simple rectangle that is rotated by the y-axis by 90 degrees and has a simple checkers texture on it. To build the reflection we will use a single hierarchy container which contains all necessary nodes. So by now you will only find those 3 outputs that we have back here as well. So as I explained in the beginning, we will just take the content output and render it a second time with the y scaling of -1, so the whole content is flipped at the y-axis. So just take the content node, create a linked copy by pressing Ctrl and Shift and then dragging itself down. And put an axis before the content output with a scaling at the y-axis of -1. So when we now add an alpha value to the ground output, which is our rectangle down here, and put it to like 95%, you can already see the reflection down here. But you will notice that those cubes are not rendered correctly since the facing of the polygons is not right. We can fix this by adding a render option and changing the back face culling to clockwise. So now it is rendered correctly. You may now notice one or more problems in the scene. One of them is the transparency of the ground, which makes the background behind it visible, although only the reflection should be visible. To change this, we will have to render the ground a second time, just after the rest of the scene, that is the background is rendered, but before the reflection is rendered. We will render it without writing to the Z buffer, by copying a link copy of the ground just behind the content output and add a Z testing node that won't write. So now you can see that the background is not rendered behind the ground anymore, but the reflection still is. So this scene setup may be just sufficient for your use case, but there are several problems that occur, like the light setup that is not mirrored or the cube that is shown next to the ground down here, and we will try to fix them in the next video snippet, which is called Mirror Reflection Advanced.